Hello from Singapore. It's 5:30 p.m. here on December 31st, and we're about a half hour away from starting our 34-hour time zone global countdown for the new year. The first country will be Kiribati, the beautiful island of Kiribati in the South Pacific. Um, Over the next 24 hours, I think about 7.9 billion people globally and in more than 250 countries and territories will ring in the new year. I think many of them, all of us, in fact, with the same hopes and aspirations for a better 2022 and for a better future. I think for those of you who see my posts on social media, you know that I absolutely love other countries, learning about other people, and certainly food. And this project of mine, which I started last year, bringing in the new year across all the time zones, is very much a reflection of that. I think for me, a lot of the so-called, I guess if you want to call it blogging that I do or posting on social media is really because I have such a love, such an interest in learning about other people, other countries and cultures, food. And when I find things that are really unique and interesting, I love to share that and hope that other people may find the same joy that I do when I discover these things. And ideally, maybe if they can afford it, if they have the opportunity to travel somewhere, doesn't mean you necessarily need to go to Tahiti, but I think there's plenty to discover even in our own backyards. It's interesting, I think COVID, despite all the terrible things that have happened with deaths in many families, the restrictions, people losing their jobs, one of the bright things that came out of it is I think COVID really made people step back and have a chance to rediscover what's in their backyards. I know living in Singapore as an American now for almost 17 years as a Singapore resident, I hardly ever actually really saw most of Singapore unless I had visitors coming into town. Then I would take them out and show them the sights. But really, in the last 2 years, once COVID hit, I really started to discover so much about the country, things that I really just find very personally interesting and enjoy, like going to World War II sites, hiking and trekking, and discovering a whole host of local food delights and some amazing culinary cuisines that I never knew existed before. So, I think with COVID and certainly it's made travel very, very difficult. And for many families, quite frankly, I know with responsibilities of putting kids through school, other expenses, it's extremely difficult to travel, not only internationally, but maybe even within your own countries. So my inspiration last year for starting this kind of around the world New Year's was to try to bring the world into people's homes, to give them an opportunity to see and understand more about what's going on in other places. And hopefully it'll inspire them as much as it has really inspired me after I've gone through and seen some of these videos and other things about countries to really want to know more and to, kind of follow up with my own research and do more things online. And, hopefully if there's an opportunity in the future, I think to have a chance to travel and to meet some of the people, to visit some of these just incredible places that I've been seeing as I've been doing my research. I think for me, this project is really as much a journey of discovery and even places that I'd been to before, really kind of rediscovered them and found so many amazing things that I never really knew, in the past. So if you have time tonight, next couple of days over the next 26 hours or so, please join me. I think you'll find it quite interesting and fascinating. I did, Facebook is probably not the best method for writing detailed content just because of the limits, and especially like me, if you use a mobile phone to access Facebook, things get pretty lengthy. So I tried to, as much as I can, to make it informative, but also to kind of mix it up between developing my own content, using photographs, some of those from my own travel, others that I've cited from people that I've seen who've done really good photography, and then bringing in a wealth of video documentaries, travel documentaries, and just some amazing so-called cinemascapes. In total, I think I reviewed about 1,000 films and videos, shortlisted about 320 of those for the 101 countries and territories that I'll be featuring over the next day or so. And with the videos, what I really tried to stick to or to emphasize were on independent vloggers, who I think, as compared to maybe the very large travel and tourism companies, the independent travelers, independent vloggers bring a very unique, very personalized and intimate perspective of life in those countries and in those places, and share a lot of things that I think you probably wouldn't otherwise see. Gives you a significantly better understanding of the local country and culture. And I think if you plan your own travels there in the future, it may give you some ideas of things that you wouldn't otherwise know about. Two of my favorite vloggers, and I've included their YouTube links below. The first is Benjamin Rich, better known as Bald and Bankrupt. Benjamin is a UK vlogger who specializes in his own travels to very far-flung corners of Russia and the former Soviet republics. And he really goes to places that literally I think not a single tourist and probably very few foreigners have ever been to, and shows you really what the real life of people is. And it's certainly fascinated me and made me want to probably visit some of these places if I had the chance. The other one is a Country Life vlog. Country Life features Azerbaijani babushka and her husband. They have their own farm in the rural areas of Azerbaijan, and they basically do cooking shows. So what I find interesting about them is if you follow them over the course of a year, as you see the beautiful scenery in Azerbaijan changing, the seasons changing, they adjust their cuisines that they make, both local and international. And they do these all from basically wood fires on their farm. And almost every ingredient that is used, they show you how they freshly grow, pick, and then use these ingredients in the recipes and cuisines that they're making. So I think those are two very, very special vloggers that I follow quite closely. And one of the other videos that I think you'll see the link below is a special message from the people of New Zealand, which I think as we look forward to the next year, it was really quite heartening and touching to see the message that so many New Zealanders from various walks of life shared about their hopes and their inspirations moving forward. And with that, I'll leave you. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch my video, and also thank you in advance if you have the opportunity to check in and watch some of the things that I'll be posting over the next day or so. All of the posts I'll be doing live, bringing in the New Year countdowns as they happen, and I'll also be providing updated links to about 15 or so cities globally that will be doing live stream fireworks of their New Year celebrations. Take care. Hope you and your family have a wonderful 2022.